Let's go. Let's go.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From perpetually sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, it's live opening.
Let's try to win a
coverage
tournament this
of
time.
the WM Phoenix Open. It is called the People's Open. Enthusiastic crowds have been the norm. 700,000 fans expected through the turnstiles this week. As we check the early leaderboard, we've got a tie at the top at 6 under par. Let's get into the action as we pick things up at the par 3 7th. So, Frank, the tour has left Pebble Beach, where we were last week, with its subtle grace and time-honored traditions. And now we've got a whole different set of traditions here in Scottsdale, as you well know. Our featured golfer played well last week up in Monterey, but now this is going to be unlike anything they have ever seen, don't you think?
Hey, this is a totally different animal, and I choose that word wisely because Pebble, you have those rolling and the undulations, the weather to contend with. You could argue that TPC Scottsdale's a little flatter. It's a little easy to get at. It's a scoring paradise. And just the electricity that the fans provide. This is just a tournament. It's a don't miss.
The weather down here in Arizona, picture perfect here in the month of February, but come August, we know that'll be a much different story. Still, Frank, apart from keeping your focus and embracing, we'll call it the festive nature of this event, what is the key to really being successful here at TPC Scottsdale?
The truth, Rich, really is trying to adjust because everybody talks of the elevation here, which is about 1,500 feet above sea level. So on a normal day around 75 degrees, that's about 5% you'd adjust. But in these cold, crisp mornings and also later in the day, that drops to about 3%. So the players that have played well here are very aware of how much that affects their iron play. Their irons go a little shorter at the start of the day. They go, they go a little further in the middle of the day, and then they drop down again in the afternoon. So constantly adjusting.
Good, clean contact and a nice result. And a chance for birdie coming up. That one just going to sneak on by. Okay, that in for par here at the 8th. And he'll remain at 1 under par. We close out the front 9 with the 454-yard par 4 9. Avoid the right-hand bunker off the tee, and you should have a good look into this green, which is separated by a large hump running right through the middle of it. This one starting up that left side.
That tee shot just finds the first cut. Ball does sit up there. Not too much of a problem.
So now from just into that first cut, he'll ready his approach to this par 4.
And safely on deck. That's the main thing, but from that distance, really don't want to leave yourself like a knee knocker, like a 4 or 5 footer. So this first putt's going to have to be good.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run at that, but it won't go down. Still pretty good from there. Disappointment there. He'll brush it in, and that'll be just a par. Par 4 10th hole. And Frank, do you think players should consider cutting the corner over that large bunker along the right side?
Well, in years gone by, Rich, that's exactly what they were starting to do, and consequently they've sort of put in a few new bunkers really to stop that that avenue or access into 10. Really, the easiest way to play it is just play it down the left side, leave yourself in. If you want to be brave, be prepared that if you miss, you'll find a bunker.
Second shot coming up, and we say hello to Iona Stephen.
121 yards is the number we're looking at. Pin, front right. It's a sneaky one.
And here at the 10th, with the iron in hand, and hits it stone cold close.
Beautiful.
5 feet now for birdie.
Oh.
Yes, rolls it right
Oh, yeah.
in. A birdie here at 10. Now at the par 4 11th, Frank, I really like this hole.
Well, you might be the only one, Rich, because this is an absolute scorecard wrecker. Water all the way down the left side. There's 2 bunkers. Don't worry about that. They're not off the tee. They're around the green. They protect the left front and the back. If you think you can bail out down the right side, well, you could find cactus and all sorts of crazy things down the right. And believe me, go down there, more than anything, they'll wreck your scorecard as well.
Second shot now, and has to be careful because that breeze can be tricky at his back. You don't want to overclub. Well, had a good look at the green, but couldn't cash it in the rough now, wondering what might have been. $18-footer. Oh, nothing routine about that one. Well done to roll it in for par. And he'll stay.
Good
at
recovery,
2 under.
at least.
Arriving now at the beautiful 192-yard par 3 12, featuring a peninsula green with water hugging the right side and 2 deep bunkers protecting the left.
That just came out blazing. As soon as it hit the green, it was never going to stop.
So a tough hole. That's in for bogey at 12. And that's going to drop him to 2 under. Our featured golfer here today had some moments, but
Good enough.
maybe not
Good
the
enough.
round one you're looking for, Frank.
Too many mistakes, Rich. Right.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From the Sonoran Desert and always entertaining TPC Scottsdale, it's live second-round coverage of the WM Phoenix Open. It is known as the greatest show on grass, and it has lived up to that moniker through the first couple of rounds as we take a look at the Friday leaderboard. We're looking at a tie at the top at 7 under par. So let's get out and pick up the action as we head to the tee at the par 5 15. Okay, that's safely onto the island, though it does wind up in one of the 2 bunkers, so it won't be an eagle putt. A birdie chance if he can knock one in close. His 3rd from the bunker. Okay, a solid par here at the 15th. And he'll remain in red figures at 1 under. Here we are at the famed 163-yard par 3 16th at TPC Scottsdale, with the McDowell Mountains in the distance and the most boisterous gallery in golf looking on. This is a test like no other on tour. Down, that ball's going to be into the front right bunker here at 16. Let him have it. Well, this one out of the bunker, that is a positive development, but not on the green. It's in the short grass. Well, Frank, you know, it's not ideal, but sometimes psychologically a bogey's not that bad.
It would have been easy to come completely off the rails there, so all in all, I'll take a bogey.
Okay, in for a bogey at 16. And that's going to move him back down to even par. Well, these short, drivable par 4s are all the rage in golf, but the designers here at TPC Scottsdale, Jay Morrish and Tom Weiskopf, were really ahead of the curve. This was one of the first, and it still remains one of the best. Short par 4s in the game, all about risk and reward.
That's a fairly decent break. Ball managing to finish up in the first cut as opposed to the rough. The only thing really to worry about now is whether the ball spins or not. Really, it's a waste after that tee shot. Just very average approach.
PGA Tour moves back to California next week. We'll be at Hogan's Alley in Riviera Country Club just west of Los Angeles for the Genesis Invitational. Frank, we go from hysteria to history.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
Hello.
Humphrey Bogart's tree
What's
on
up?
the left side of the 12th hole. Still there, and it's still a feature. A huge sycamore tree there kicks the odd ball away from the green. It's good. The whole golf course is in a sort of a bowl, so you get these swirling winds. I know they've tried to renovate the golf course over the last few years. It's actually made the fairways a little wider, but another straight-up test. I mean, the West Coast swing, you really have to bring your game.
We finish our day here at TPC Scottsdale with a 442-yard par 4 18. Strategy off the tee is key. Challenge the lake on the left and cut the corner of the Church Pew bunkers, or play it safely down the right side of the fairway. And this a tee shot that fits the eye, and that'll be just fine. Second shot straight ahead, and we go to Iona Stephen.
We're looking at 138 yards left. Pin on the left portion of this green, so it will favour a wee draw.
Okay, a good putt, able to save par here at 18. That's going to be a second round, 73. So for
Average.
our featured golfer, Frank, it is on to the weekend. Who knows if you
can do
get
better.
out early
Can do
on
better.
Saturday, try and post a number, see what happens. EA Sports and the PGA Tour are proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. On one of the zaniest days on the tour calendar, live Saturday third round coverage of the one and only WM Phoenix Open. How about the fans out at 7 a.m. sharp today, making that mad dash across the grounds to get that coveted spot at number 16? As we take a look at the Saturday leaderboard. On top is Matt Fitzpatrick. He sits at 10 under par. So let's get you out to the action on the turn as we head to the tee at the par 410.
That ball was always heading
Beautiful.
a little bit right, but inside
What a shot,
10
what a
feet,
shot.
there's nothing wrong with that on this hole.
This a shade better than 50% on the make percentage. It's for birdie. Oh, right by the hole. The longer putts, you don't mind as much. The short ones, they tend to sting. So that's in for par to start this backside. And he'll stay at 1 over.
Should have got that.
Moving on to the 11th hole, Frank, water all along the left side, 472 yards. How do you handle this one?
Well, this one's weird because the tees are a little off center. They start down the right side, which makes it into a dogleg. And you mentioned the water. It always comes into play. And there are 0 fairway bunkers. You don't need them here at 11 because really it's all about the tee shot. Find the fairway. Then even though it's a long par 4, you should be able to at least attack that green safely. Miss the fairway to the right, which is the barrel outside, and your problems are just starting.
And that will not even stay on the green. It is going to finish up on the fringe, a long way from home. "13 feet away." Yes, a perfect read there. That is in to save par. And he'll stay right where he is. Par 3 12th may not be as famous as the par 3 16th, but Frank, you think this may be a tougher and even better hole?
We see more bogeys and double bogeys here on 12 than 16 will ever see, and courtesy of the water behind and to the right of the screen. If you're going to bail out, find one of those bunkers. A good bunker player obviously can get it up and down, but it's still no snack trying to record your par 3 at 12.
Okay, that's at least safe, but it is in the rough. This will test the skill set here. It's his second.
Way too good, I must say. That was just smashed. Yeah, sizable putt left.
Hang on. That's going to leave about 3 feet. That one polished off for bogey.
Very bad. Very bad.
That's going to move him back to 2 over par. Next up, the 558-yard par 5 13th. Great driving hole featuring water and desert on the right, mature mesquite trees and a big bunker on the left. Drive the ball between that trouble, and the green is definitely reachable in 2. This is a good scoring hole. And no issues there. Good tee shot in the short grass.
Going for an eagle. Going for an eagle here. Let's go. Scratch that.
It's 37 yards to the hole. Just like that, it's a birdie here at
Could have been
13.
worse.
And he's able to get it back to 1 over. Well, without a doubt, a disappointing Saturday for our featured
Getting
golfer.
better.
High
Getting better, isn't it?
expectations coming in, but it's an over par round, leaving
Making
him
it to
well
the
back.
Rich, the
Last day.
statistics side of me actually sort of enjoy.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour so proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From the base of the McDowell Mountains and TPC Scottsdale, live final round coverage of the WM Phoenix Open. Here in the Valley of the Sun, the temperatures are up, the scores are down as we take a look at the leaderboard on this Sunday. And we've got a packed group at the top with a tie at 12 under. So let's get out to the course as we join the action on the tee at the par 5 13th hole. Had the distance right, just a tad offline. How about the chances for getting it up and down from that spot?
Well, it's not in the thick stuff, Rich, so that's advantage number one. Really lies pretty good. I think it's a standard pitch.
We turn to Nota Begay III for this look at birdie.
And these are the putts he hasn't been able to do much with all day. This doesn't have a whole lot of movement to it. He can surely use it.
The pace, absolutely perfect there. Down the slope, it's in for a birdie.
Got it. Got it.
And he will definitely not say no to that. Par 4 14th, Frank, it seems as though you'd be pretty happy with a par here.
You would, even though the putting surfaces here at TPC Scottsdale are excellent. It's going to take 2 good shots to reach this 14th hole. You can get in a little bit of trouble off the tee. That bunker on the left very much in play. The rough on the right side is no snack either, because the ball more often than not will finish well above the player's feet. And of course that green is very, very narrow, well protected by bunkers on the left.
Noticeable breeze coming right to left as he eyes his second.
And that ball looked good in the air. You'd like it to be a little closer, but still inside 40 feet. Just going to have to be careful with the lag putting.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run at that, but it won't go down. Still pretty good from there. No issues there. It is a par here at 14. And he'll remain right where he is. All right, Frank, now the fun begins. We are teed up at the par 5 15th hole. Plenty to talk about here.
Yeah, the fairway down the left side is anything other than straight. It's more like a shipwreck, the raggedness of it. And that water in play, well, if you do find one on the fairway, you can sort of always wave across to the people that are walking down the 11th hole. Find the fairway, you can reach this par 5 and 2. A little bit of an island looking green there, bunker on the left, and also another bunker just short right. But a fairway missed here. Well, you can rack up 5, 6, 7. You've seen all sorts of scores here at 15. The beauty of this par 5, so many different ways to play it. It'd be a little wayward, even with the tee shot or the second shot, but really, it's going to be about the third shot today. How close can you hit it?
And that's going to leave some work, but it'll end up okay. The pace, absolutely perfect there. Down the slope, it's in for a birdie. And he's got it back to even par. This is absolutely one of the coolest holes in golf. This is a little bit like dropping Fenway Park into the desert, trading a baseball bat for a golf club. And it is bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, tie game, World Series rowdy. I mean, there is nothing like it in golf. And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass.
Lovely pitch shot. Just nipped that ball off the turf. Just flew through the air beautifully. Set down fairly quick as well. Good shot.
Okay, didn't want to let that one get away. It is a par here at 16, and he'll stay at level par. Up next, the 332-yard drivable par 4 17th. Players going for the green need to avoid the water short and left of the putting surface. A miss right will still allow for a fairly simple up and down. Oh, this is going to be way down there. I mean, that is a sight to behold. What a spectacular
Just about
shot
made it.
we just saw.
Just about made it.
On the par 4 with a drive in one. Nine feet left here for birdie. Oh, finishing strong. That's in for birdie here at 17. And he's into red figures now at 1 under par. What an outstanding finishing hole here at TPC Scottsdale. Not overly long, but it is challenging. At 442 yards, this par 4 is all about strategy. You can challenge the lake on the left if you're one of the bigger hitters. Cut the corner of the Church Pew bunkers. That leaves you with just a flip wedge in. Or you can take the safe route. Just go down the right side of the fairway. Well, it does avoid the Church Pew bunker left, but this is too far right and into one of the smaller bunkers, so no advantage gained there.
You realize there's green grass in this hole? Bunker off the tee, now bunker again. You have so much sand in those shoes by the time we finish this hole.
That is a good-looking pass out of the bunker right there. Got that to stop in a good place, leaving just a few feet for par. So a tap in there. That's for par at the last. And that will go down as a final round 69.
Top 30
So,
finish.
Frank, a few good things to take away from the weekend, but ultimately This course just got the better of them.
Yeah, it did, but at least they went the full distance. That's the important thing. You teed up on a Sunday, even if it's not a great week. Every day you get out to play golf, especially in competition, you learn.
So for Frank Nobilo.
Can we try win a tournament? Come on.
EA Sports and the
let's do
PGA
it, that's
Tour
it.
proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From historic Riviera Country Club in This promises to be a fun 4 days, a lot of storylines to get to as we check out the early leaderboard. Tyler Duncan is the leader. He's off to a good start at 6 under. Time to head out to the course as we pick things up on the tee at the par 4 12th.
Too strong for this hole, eh? Ran out of fairway and into the rough. Big hit, though.
Certainly had enough power, just didn't have any touch. This is an 11-foot putt. Nope. Okay, that's going to be finished off for his bogey. He's going to fall out of red figures, back down to even par. So Frank, this is such a magnificent setting for a golf tournament. You know that. You've played here, you've broadcast here all these years. It has an aura and the obvious history. The clubhouse overlooking the 18th, the proximity to the first tee, pictures of all the stars from Hollywood's golden era. They all played here. But let's talk about the nuts and bolts of it. What does it take to post a good score here at fabled Riviera?
Traditionally, it's known as a great driving course, Rich, and I think that still bodes well today. So many key tee shots, holes dogleg left, dogleg right. But all said and done, it has this mystique about it because it's actually been the kryptonite for Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. Neither one of those two of the greatest players that have ever played this game, ever won around Riviera.
That's going to scoot a foot or two by. Okay, safely in for par here at 13, and he'll stay at even par. Onward now to the 14th, a par 3 at 192 yards. Flanked by bunkers, this green is wider than it is deep, making it important to get one up in the air and stop it quickly. Boy, just far too strong with a tee shot there, and this winds up flying the green. Didn't trust the read there, and that's going to cost him. Safely in. It's a bogey here at 14. And he's going to fall back now to 1 over par. The 15th hole here at Riviera at 487 yards of par 4. It is the number 2 handicap hole, so that can speak to its difficulty. The one well-placed bunker at the elbow of the dogleg must be avoided, and the green is believed by many to be the toughest to read on the course.
Well, that drive was enormous. I know it's in the rough, but that is long.
See what he can do with this one. His second at the 15th. Just want to avoid the flyer lie coming out of that rough.
Now a 7-footer.
Yeah, good putt. That's in for par here at 15. And he'll stay right where he is. One last look at the leaderboard, Frank. Our featured golfer down.
Come on. I'll do better this time.
After day 1.
Yeah, they might have to take the standing 8, though. Or
Some bad mistakes. Some stupid mistakes.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From fabled Riviera Country Club just west of Los Angeles, it's live second-round coverage of the Genesis Invitational. Well, if we see more of what we witnessed yesterday, we're in for a heck of a battle these next 3 days as we show you the current leaderboard here on this Friday. Tommy Fleetwood is on top. He shows the way at 7 under. Let's get right into the action, starting with the par 3 14th. Now short-sided a bit as he sets up his second from left of the green. Oh, missed the green at the par 3. No
What a shot. What a shot. Well,
off the putting surface for
that's what I'm talking about.
Two. Next up, the par 4 15th at 487 yards. It's another one that favors someone who can move the ball left to right off the tee. If you've got enough to work it over that fairway bunker right, it should leave you with an open look to a fairly accessible green. Looking for a strong finishing kick here on this Friday to get set up for the weekend, and that another good drive here. So a breeze at his back as he readies his second to the par 4.
I imagine a miss club because that ball sailed past the flag. Really just fortunate to stay on the back of the green.
Come on. Come on. Is it in? Boom. Oh, yeah. What a putt.
Downtown, that in for a birdie here at 15. And
That's what I'm talking about.
He's going to move to within 3 of the lead. On On now to the 16th at 166 yards. It's the smallest green on the course, but the difficulties don't end there. It's also surrounded by 3 deep and large bunkers. Plus, that tree left of the tee box can get you if you're not careful.
Didn't check, Frank.
Yeah, just not enough spin on that, really. I mean, that almost like took that first bounce and just ricocheted forward.
Okay, well, that is on the green, but apparently just too difficult to get enough loft on it out of the bunker, and that winds up well beyond the hole. Yeah, tough to know just how far out to the right to play that one. I mean, that was not far enough. A reminder, coming up next week, we start the Florida swing with a stop at the wetlands for the Florida Classic. Then it is on to Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer
Damn.
Invitational.
Bad second shot.
Unofficial 5th major, the Players at TPC Sawgrass.
And a welcome back to Bermuda grass, Rich. It's a totally different animal.
We make our final turn back up toward the clubhouse as we come to the
I'll get back.
590-yard par
I'll get
5
back here.
17. Getting on here into is no sure thing, especially given all the bunkers that pop up along the way. All right, in the fairway. Now from way back, better than 300 yards, a second to the par 5. And that will make it onto the putting surface, but ultimately not a real good shot. Yeah, that's really well done. From that distance, you'll take it every time. No problems there. That's a par here at 17. And he'll stay.
Last chance. Last chance to get something.
Here's a tough one to finish out our day at Riviera, the famous 475-yard par 4 18. This one cut right up against the side of the hill on the left. You'll need to keep something in the fairway here to have a good approach into that renowned 18th green. Set up in the fairway, 200 yards from here. Too bad, Frank. That one rolled right off the green.
It was just coming out so hot.
Not quite enough, but that's pretty good. It's just so tough to calculate how much speed's going to be taken off before you get to the green, but that was very well judged. Even the short ones can jump up and get you sometimes. Okay, a shake of the head as that one is finished off.
Why did I do that?
Drop him to 2 under.
Why did I do
2
that?
rounds complete here, Frank. What have you seen so far?
I know a lot of other people might think so, but
Sports and the PGA Tour are proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From one of the all-timers in the world of golf, Riviera Country Club in Southern California, it's third-round coverage of the Genesis Invitational. Well, if yesterday was any indication, we should be in for a memorable weekend of golf here as we take in the leaderboard on this Saturday.
Yeah, this is going to work just fine. That fairway runs out fairly quickly, but this is right where you want to be.
Let's pick up the action here as we begin at the long par 5 first.
Well, that one didn't work out. Didn't look bad in the air. It hit the green, but didn't sit.
Yeah, it was never going to stop.
Oh, he made it. What a start to this round. An eagle here at the first hole. And if that is a harbinger of
Oh, yeah.
what's to come,
That's what I
we
needed.
may be in for
Exactly
a
what I needed.
special and memorable round of golf. Next up, the number 1 handicap holder at Riviera, the 471-yard par 4 second, playing into the prevailing ocean breeze, making it play that much longer. Par is a very good score here. No problems there. That's going to wind up safely in the fairway. Well, had a good look at the green, but couldn't cash it in. In the rough now, wondering what might have been.
I didn't realize this hole was this long. Long, short, here we go again. Now, this would be an unbelievable putt if you can make this putt.
Yeah, that's a good putt, though it is for bogey here at the second. And he's going to slide backwards to 3 under par. Moving now to the 434-yard par 4 third at Riviera. Best way to attack here is to carry that fairway bunker on the left to set up a good angle on your approach. This one starting a little left off the tee. Be a little disappointed with that because it lands in the rough and it appears to be fairly thick over there. Second shot coming up. Let's check in for the first time with Notavigay III.
156 yards left to the hole. Pin about medium depth, though it is on the left side.
Now there's a good strike in there, just a little left of the hole, but inside 10 feet.
Beautiful.
50-50 chance
Beautiful.
on the PGA Tour of making a birdie.
Okay, nicely done. That's in for birdie here at 3. And that puts him at 2 under for his round, 4 under for the tournament. Well, this is just a great par 3, 236 yards, the 4th hole. And as they like to say on tour, you can't fake this one. This will take your best shot, and you'd be happy with a 3 here. Boy, that one did not want to slow down at all, and it winds up running right through the green. Second shot now, here at the par 3.
"14 feet to the hole."
Got it there, but not quite on target. That one finished off. It is a bogey here at 4. And that won't help the cause one bit. You can see here at the par 4 fifth, there's a lot going on. It is one of the most interesting holes at Riviera, that canyon wall and out of bounds on the right. Then you have the trees down the left. But what really makes this hole distinctive is that grass mound cutting into the fairway just short of the green. Working out of the rough now for his second at the par 4 fifth.
And that ball looked very good in the air. Just doesn't quite finish up that near to the flag, but still on the green.
Oh man, the speed was spot on. A good putt, but nothing to show for it. That one finished off. It is a par here at 5, and he'll remain at 6 under par. So for our featured golfers, some good playing and some favorable scoring conditions here on this Saturday. But they'll look up at that leaderboard and see.
Long shot. I'll go for it. I'll go for it. Come on. I can do this.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour so proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. From the LA suburb of Pacific Palisades and Riviera Country Club, it's final round coverage of the Genesis Invitational. It is the great challenge that all these golfers face, trying to string 4 solid rounds together, trying to best Mother Nature and this course, and trying to beat the entire field as we check the leaderboard. We've got a tie at the top. So let's get out to the course, already deep into the round as we head to the tee on the par 4 15. Final round underway here, and Frank, you look at a golfer like the one we're going to be following today. Rookie on the PGA Tour, has not won yet, but squarely in the hunt here on a Sunday. What do they need to call on here to maybe take a run at winning this thing?
First and foremost, just play. You know, tee it up on that first hole, knock it down, they hit it on the green. Never know, might make birdie, might make another one, might make 3, 4 in a row. You never know. And the leaders might falter. So at the end, you have to worry about what you can do. You make a little run, all of a sudden there's a chance, you see your name on the leaderboard. That puts pressure on everybody else. You don't have to worry about that. You do your job.
The 16th hole at Riviera, the final par 3 of the round. It's a tough one at 166 yards. Hit it anywhere on the putting surface, you'll likely be just fine. Miss, and you're almost certain to be in one of the 4 bunkers framing the entirety of the green. Now from the bunker.
Yeah, just a little splash out on this par 3.
Safely out of the bunker, but still a little bit of work left. I think you'd like to see that a little closer. Nope, good effort, but that's going to wander a few feet by. Okay, that in for a bogey at 16. He'll fall back to 8 under par.
The pressure's going to be.
Next up, the longest hole on the course at 590 yards, the par 5 17. It plays slightly uphill the entire way as it works toward the clubhouse and features bunkers on either side of the fairway. And that will do just fine. Still better than 3 bills away as he puts forth his second to the par 5.
That second shot got all the way down by the green, but in the bunker. So we'll have to see what the explosion shot can do from here. Really need a birdie right now.
This one not for the faint of heart. Down a big slope, though it is for birdie.
There's 5 feet left. That's going to leak out to the right and trickle away. Not the right read there. That one finished off for bogey here at 17. That'll drop him back down to 7 under. Such a unique closing hole. The 18th here at Riviera at 475 yards. You're asked to hit your tee shot onto a 30-foot rise that features hillside to the left and gully to the right. From there, it is a tough approach into the amphitheater green.
To where the hole is cut, just about 190 yards, Frank.
Frank landed it on the green.
It was never going to stop.
No, no chance. That's just okay, I'd say, but he's left himself at least a chance at a par, Frank.
Come on, Rich. I mean, you're being too kind there. That's not ideal.
That's a good putt to save par here at 18. And that'll be a final round score of 70.
Bad last round.
So for our featured golfer, Frank, in the mix much of the week. It'll be a
Top 8 though.
finish, but maybe a chance to rue a few missed opportunities.
Depends how you look at it. I agree with you. Definitely some missed opportunities, but there's enough good there. So how do they show up next time, though? I think that's the key.
I think my best performance. Anyway. What do I do with these rewards? I'll do one more tournament. Let's go. Let's go.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, from the wetlands, it's live opening round coverage of the Florida Classic. We've got a full field ready to get rolling on this Thursday as we get a look at the early leaderboard. Sam Burns is on top. He's on the move early at 5 under par. So let's get out to the course as we pick up the action starting here at the par 5 fifth hole. So Frank, another week here on the PGA Tour, and we take a look at our featured golfer today, the young rookie, still in search of that first win. But I'll tell you what, that had to be a great confidence boost last week. Didn't get the victory, but to be that young and in the hunt on Sunday, a lot of folks think a breakthrough might be imminent. What do you think?
I think so, Rich. The golf is good enough. I'm just concerned about how thick that brick wall is, because if you play this good and you get a few chances to win and you don't complete the job, your mind actually starts to get in the way.
No problems there. Really good approach shot. And now, good look at birdie. Oh, yes. Plenty of pace to get up that slope. It is in for a birdie. On to the par 4 sixth here at the wetlands. And Frank, how does that water factor into the way you play this hole?
It bisects this fairway beautifully, Rich. 233 yards to the run out on the first section of fairway, and that might be worth considering for the short hitters to try and flash it across the narrowest part of those wetlands. 276 yards, and of course, the more horsepower you got, actually the easier this tee shot becomes. Well, not super close, but safely on the green.
We welcome in Iona Stephen. This, a putt for birdie.
One thing I can say is it looks to be almost dead straight, but it's going to carry a good amount of speed as it hits that slope.
Nah, that's going to wander off to the right and leave maybe 2-3 feet coming back. Safely in for par here at the sixth, and he'll stay at 2 under. Frank, now we get a crack at another par 5. The seventh is 592 yards.
It's certainly reachable, especially with a tee shot that follows the shape of this fairway, which is slightly to the left. Good tee shot, you can get home. And those bunkers, if anything, are nicely placed on that left side of the green, actually to protect a shot that goes too far or too left.
Now, from better than 300 yards out, a second to the par 5. I'm not sure he got every bit of that three-wood trying to get home to this par 5 in 2, but still in the ball game for a birdie. Okay, on the green, but that's going to leave a putt that will get your attention. Boy, this could be a tough one right here, Frank.
It's a very long putt, Rich. Obviously, it's difficult, but he still has a shot to sink this one for birdie.
That one just going to sneak on by. That one finished off. It'll be a par here at 7, and he'll remain right where he is. To the 8th. It's a par 3, 203 yards. What's going on here, Frank?
Interesting par 3, really. It looks anything other than a straightaway hole. That bunker short of this green gives you like an optical illusion. You think it's lapping up with the front of this green, but there's actually sort of 3 or 4 yards before you get to the putting surface. A little bit of a drop off behind this green, and it narrows out the deeper the green gets. So tricky little par 3.
Now, from the apron, second to the par 3. Okay, that in for par here at the 8th. And he'll stay right where he is.
Finishing up the front side here at the Wetlands Golf and Country Club with a par 5, 621 yards.
Beautiful tempo to that swing, and this is going to wind up squarely in the fairway. Still well over 300 yards to the flag, so getting this to a good number, the key here for his second. Now his third, staring right at the green. And that's not exactly ideal. Far from a tap-in for his par.
You're being too kind. That's not at all ideal.
Yep, not a lot of movement there. He's able to walk that one in to save his par. So our featured golfer well back after round 1, and now likely in a fight just to play the weekend.
I think they're in a different zip code.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, from the Wetlands, we bring you live second-round coverage of the Florida Classic. Things starting to slowly take shape here on this Friday. For some, it is a race for the top prize. For others, it's a fight to stick around for the weekend as we show you the leaderboard. The leader is Scotty Scheffler. He's at 9 under. We get into the action here starting at the par 3 fourth.
And an awkward little bunker shot. Just splash it out, let the ball run towards the flag.
Okay, not bad out of the sand, and that's what will remain, trying to grind out a par. That's in. It is a good par here at number 4. And he'll remain at 1 under par.
Out of the 5th hole here at the Wetlands, par 5, 635 yards. A lot going on here, Frank.
The shorter hitters don't really worry about the swampland on the left because it really only cuts in to worry the longer hitters if you want to try and reach this par 5 and 2. So shorter hitters, 2 good shots, set up a wedge shot. Longer hitters, are you straight enough to hit it into the narrowest part of the fairway?
Now a second from well over 300 yards. This will be about positioning. I wouldn't say he's dominated the par 5 to this point. Still a lot of work left here.
The beauty of this game is you get to choose your own strategy. It's a 3-shot hole. There's a lot of different ways to try and reach this par 5 in 3 shots. Still, his third shot is going to have to be hit on the button.
Outstanding strike right there, right off the center of the club face, and a good chance for birdie. Got that up too high, and it didn't want to come back. Okay, that one brushed in for a bogey here at the fifth. And that's going to move him back down to even par. Par 4 sixth here at the wetlands, 440 yards and water to deal with.
Two choices here, Rich. Lay it up short of the wetlands, or, well, chance it. Brave enough, tee it up and flash it across the wetlands to just a mere short iron into this lengthy par 4.
And that will be more than adequate. It's safely into the fairway. Next week, the Florida Swing continues. Frankie, it's a home game for you. That's always nice as we head to Orlando and Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. Always a good week.
No, it certainly is. Get some home-cooked meals, that's for sure, and get to watch people play. I don't know, I just love the finish at Bay Hill. 16, 17, and 18. So many tournaments where things have gone awry over that very stretch.
Oh, that's how you do it right there. The approach misses the target, but the putter coming through from off the green, and that is a bit of a surprise birdie. Here's another scoring opportunity, Frank, a par 5. The seventh is just a shade under 600 yards.
And it bends gently to the left, Rich. Longer hitters can obviously get home, and nothing really to be worrying about with that second shot if you can reach. The wetlands are well to the right of this hole for the second shot. But if you want to play to the three-shotter, then that's a very safe, conservative way and really shouldn't cause you any problems whatsoever.
Well, just a good solid shot right there with that 3-wood, Frank.
That's an aggressive layup, really, trying to force that 3-wood down and get it as close as possible to the green. That's two good shots if you can't reach the par 5.
Okay, a little left to do, but safely on the green. Pretty good read there. Definitely good speed, and it just skips a foot or so by. Okay, safely in for his par. And he'll remain in red figures at 1 under. 8th hole here at the wetlands, par 3, 203 yards. You like this hole, Frank?
I do, actually, but you have to have a little look at your yardage book because that front bunker will make this hole look a little shorter to the eye than actually what it plays. Green gets a little narrower as it gets deeper, but flat and, well, I wouldn't say easy. 3 here, not too bad.
And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass. I think he'll be fairly pleased with that, Frank. What do you think?
I certainly do. It was so good.
He'll finish that one off with no problem. It's in for par. And he'll stay at 7 under. So our featured golfer here, pretty solid through the first 2 days. Safely
Come on
through
up.
to the weekend and squarely in the conversation.
That's right, Rich. You get off to a good start tomorrow, throw a few birds.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour are proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. This afternoon from the wetlands, we bring you live third-round coverage of the Florida Classic. Rich Lerner here in our tower overlooking the 18th green. Frank Novello is by my side. Out on the course, we've got Nota Begay III and Iona Stephen as we check the Saturday leaderboard. The former Texas Longhorn Scotty Scheffler is the leader. He currently sits at 12 under par. And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass.
The strike was fine on the pitch shot. Ball first, then turf. Just wasn't really hit hard enough.
Not that time. Pretty good effort, but it'll wander a couple of feet by. Okay, that one in for a bogey here at 10. And that's going to drop him down the leaderboard just a bit. Par 4 11th, 443 yards. What's the best strategy here, Frank?
Somehow find the fairway, Rich. This is brutal. Miss it left or miss it right. But it's Florida. Fairways are wide enough, soft enough. But good tee shot. Still going to leave you a lengthy second.
No issues here. That is into the fairway. Now from just under 170 out, this is second. This will be a 5-foot putt here. Okay, well done. It is a par here at 11, and he's going to remain at 8 under. Par 5 12 here at the Wetlands Golf and Country Club is 576 yards. First par 5 on this backside. Up next, the first par 5 of the back 9 here at the Wetlands, the 576-yard 12th wide fairway with no real trouble off the tee. So it is a good time to let it rip. So in the fairway, but a pretty good number to carry here for a second to the par 5. Has to be thrilled with that second shot here to the par 5. Frank got everything out of that.
Yeah, did well just to advance the ball so far down the fairway. And now a fairly straightforward third shot.
No missteps there. It is a par here at 12. And he'll remain right where he is. Now to the par 4 13th. Frank, what are the options here?
Well, another straight one required here, Rich. It's 450. It's not overly long in today's standard, but still, that fairway widens up where the longer hitters will actually hit. And bunkers, once again, short of a green. So as long as you can fly that second shot to at least the front of the green, then they really do not come into play.
Wind coming from his right as he gets set for his second.
And a good approach shot, just not quite as close as what you'd like, but still solid.
Birdie putt coming up, and we go to Iona Stephen.
There is a sneaky bit of break from left to right on this putt, but don't overdo it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good putt. Just a little bit off the mark.
Okay, safely in for par here at 13. And he'll stay right where he is. Moving on to the tricky 14s here at the wetlands. It's 204 yards, but there is plenty of trouble out there. And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass. Well, obviously that's not his best, but it'll be quickly forgotten, Frank, if he's able to get out of here with his par.
Well, you might forget it. I won't. Far from his best.
Nearly had it. Just going to wander a foot or so by. Safely in. It's a bogey here at 14. And that won't help the cause one bit. So, Frank, not much movement here on moving day and even par round. And they're going to find themselves pretty well out of the picture.
Yeah, even par.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour so proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. This afternoon, we're in the Sunshine State for live final round coverage of the Florida Classic. Well, we have already seen 3 scintillating, sometimes spectacular rounds of golf. By the time twilight comes calling later today, we will have a champion as we check the Sunday leaderboard. On top, it's Tony Finau. He's at 18 under. So, out to the action we go as we catch up with our golfer on the tee at the par 4 13th. Well, those are the shots that turn what you'd like to be a leisurely stroll out on the golf course into a day of hard work.
Yeah, what could have been a tap-in is now going to be a grind.
Ooh, that's got a little bit more movement than you think, and that'll slide on by. Okay, that one finished off. It is a bogey here at unlucky number 13. And he's going to fall to 6 under par.
Not good.
14th
Not
under
good.
at the wetlands. A dangerous par 3 comes in at 204 yards. There's some trouble out there.
And this is where you have to readjust your focus. If you start looking right or left of this green, you see all the problems that could come in and prevail. Instead, just look at that front bunker. Try and fly your tee shot over that, somewhere around the front edge of the green, maybe 3 or 4 yards on, and then the hole becomes that much easier.
And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass. "13 feet away." Nah, the putter bails him out. There, that's in for a par. And he'll remain at 6 under par. The last par 5 on this golf course is the 15th. It's 590 yards. You think, Frank, this is the time to be aggressive?
Certainly is. Longer hitters must be licking their chops on this par 5. 300-plus yard tee shot, you can definitely get home. Shorter hitters, just set it up for a nice wedge shot. But if you are going to go at this par 5 and 2, well protected by those 3 bunkers.
Oh, boy, that has started way left. Well, not this time. That one's in the rough. Might be a tough shot coming up. Safely back into the fairway. That was the job at hand, and it's a good end result.
Yeah, good putt. That's in for par here at 15. And he'll remain right where he is. Moving to the 16th hole here at the Wetlands, 455-yard par 4. And you can see, Frank, that green is heavily guarded.
And consequently, you're really going to have to judge that second shot. Know your yardage, and also a good strike's required to safely keep the ball on the putting surface.
And just what you want at this point in the round. You're trying to find a rhythm, hit fairways, hit the middle of the club face. That's what they did right there.
And a good iron shot, just not quite as close as what we'd all want to finish, but still.
This would be a big bonus if it went in, more than likely just trying to get this one close. Yep, not bad. Had to put a little extra into that one, but got it there. That's a pretty good effort. Okay, that'll be a par here at 16. And he'll stay right where he is. '17th at the Wetlands, par 3, 238 yards. Frank, how would you describe this hole?
Well, it's a hole really that shapes up well for a nice little high draw. See the angle of the green pointing slightly to the right. A nice little draw into this par 3. And that'll find a nice avenue. Maybe a kick forward, 15, 20 feet left for birdie. And if you birdied 16, chance to birdie 17 as well.
Now from a tight lie, this his second. And that's not exactly ideal. Far from a tap-in for his par.
You're being too kind. That's not at all ideal.
Yeah, that's good putt. It is in for par here at 17. And he'll remain right where he is. Final hole here at the Wetlands Golf and Country Club. It's par 4. It's not a long one, 377 yards. There must be some trouble out there somewhere.
Well, not really if you keep your wits about you. Just position the tee shot. You don't have to hit driver down here. Even a 3-wood's only going to leave a short iron. If you hit your 3-wood 250, 260 yards, do the maths, it's only 120 yards left. With that, with a scoring club, try and get that inside 10, 15 feet. Finish with a birdie.
But if you stray, then what?
Oh, no, we don't think of straying on this hole. This is the last hole. Got to finish well.
But I'm thinking about gators. There gators out there?
Well, there's gator on the menu. Lovely pitch shot. Just nipped that ball off the turf. Just flew through the air beautifully. Sat down fairly quick as well. Good shot.
Yeah, that's a good putt. It is in for his par here at 18. That'll be a final round score of 73. So, Frank, a few good things to take away from the weekend, but ultimately, this course just got the better of them.
Yeah, it did, but at least they went the full distance. That's the important thing. You know, you tee it up on a Sunday. Even if it's not a great week, every day you get out to play golf, especially.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today from the Bay Hill Club and Lodge, opening round coverage of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard. This is going to be a compelling 4 days of golf. A lot of storylines to follow as we move through the weekend, and we take a look at the leaderboard here in round one. Our leader, a former winner here at Bay Hill in 2020, Tyrrell Hatton, he's on the move early at 5 under par. So let's get out to the course as we join the action on the tee at the par 5 fourth.
Let's go. Let's win this.
Probably going to have to hit one more club here, Frank. A little bit uphill.
Well, the ball is on the green. That's about all I can say with that. With a short wedge in hand, you'd expect that certainly be much closer than that.
Yeah, that's a nice putt. Getting it there up the hill was half the battle. This got there just a little wide of the mark. Okay, that one finished off. It's a par here at 4, and he'll stay at 1 over. You know, Frank, you walk around the grounds and this golf course, and you just can't help but think about the great Arnold Palmer, all that he did for the sport of golf. I know you got a chance to know Mr. Palmer, as I did during your time playing the tour. What are your memories of Arnold?
Well, Rich, if you indulge me, I'd go back to when he played in New Zealand. I remember as just a young teenager watching him play at my local club. He was playing alongside Bob Charles. I was amazed then how he could still play. He was probably in his 50s in those days. And how he could still drive the ball well. And then I first got to play with him in the 1995 Masters. And the amazing thing about that is even though he lacked for a little bit of power as he got older, he had this amazing ability to work the ball around the golf course. And I learned so much about Augusta National just playing one round competitive round of golf with him. And then obviously when he would visit the booth at Bay Hill when I was doing the broadcast there. So he's the king for a reason. And the greatest line I ever heard was, Arnold Palmer never met a stranger.
Frank, he did have the rare ability to connect with kings and commoners. And there is an old saying that friends should be preferred to kings. He was, as you referenced, known as the king. But I always felt, Frank, that Arnold Palmer was very simply the best friend the game of golf has ever had.
Well said.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Not up there near the green like some folks we know, but a very solid drive here at 6. Oh, going with the 3-wood, but this is headed for the lake. It is one of the more satisfying shots in golf, isn't it? Downwind to a par 5
Come on.
second, and you'll knock it on. Chance for
Come on,
eagle.
that's it.
Certainly shortens up the par 5, that wind at your back, Rich, but you can just surf the wind. Just leave that ball carry and just sail towards the green.
Oh, yeah. That's how you take advantage of a par 5. It's in for an eagle 3. Superb. Moving on now, Frank, we're at the par 3 7th hole. What's the challenge here?
Really, the high ball hitters have an advantage here. Just try and carry it in the middle of the green.
Well, after that beast of a par 5, Frank, it is time to finesse one up on the green here at the par 3 7, just a little under 200 yards.
There's a big mound in the middle of this green. The flag's above it, and then you've got to be really precise. If it's short of it, you can use that mound as a backstop.
And that's going to be too strong. It is into one of the two back bunkers around this 7th green. Okay, pretty big swing necessary there, and that's not all that bad from that far away. Yep, well done. That's in for par here at 7. And he'll stay right where he is. Well, this 8th hole is just a solid par 4. With a good tee shot, you'll have a chance to make 3, but trust me, you're thrilled to walk out of here with a 4. It requires 2 good shots, and you have to play it all the way through, tee to green. Solid, a good drive in the fairway. Now, a second here from 175 out.
It's a solid shot and a green in regulation, but a little away from the band.
We welcome in Iona Stephen. This, a putt for birdie.
And it looks pretty much straight overall, but it's going to pick up a lot of pace as it heads down this slope. Needs to be careful.
Okay, good roll there. It is a par here at the 8th, and he'll remain right where he is. Heading back toward the famous lodge at Bay Hill. This is the 9th hole. Straightforward par 4, but a good one. 2 good shots here. You'll be happy to make the par. Certainly had enough power, just didn't have any touch. That's just okay, I'd say, but he's left himself at least a chance at a par, Frank.
Come on, Rich. I mean, you're being too kind there. That's not ideal.
Yeah, well, hole. That's back-to-back pars, and he'll remain at -1. One last look at the leaderboard, Frank. Our featured golfer down, but not out after day 1.
Yeah, they might have to take the standing 8, though, or hit the...
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, it's live second-round coverage of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard. Well, if we see more of what we witnessed yesterday, we're in for a heck of a battle these next 3 days as we show you the current leaderboard here on this Friday. On top is the Norwegian, Victor Hovland. He shows the way at 7 under. Time to head out to the course as we pick things up on the tee at the long par 5 6th. Really hit that second shot on the button to this par 5, but Frank couldn't get it to stop.
Yeah, too good, too long, sadly.
Okay, a good out, and that's what will remain for birdie. Right about 9 feet here to the hole. Oh, goodness, that is too bad. That would have been a good birdie, but not to be. Safely in for par here at the 6th. And he'll stay at 2 under. Now at the par 3 7th, Frank, it's just under 200 yards.
It's still quite daunting. A very narrow entry on that left side. So you've got to hit the ball flush off the tee. Really guarantee a carry of that over that right bunker. So it's still a daunting tee shot.
And that is going to wind up in the front right bunker here at 7th. Now from the bunker.
Yeah, just a little splash out on this par 3.
Oh, the hands came through beautifully there. Good thump of the sand and a good chance to save par. Nicely done as he rolls that in for his par. And he'll stay right where he is. Let's move on to the 8th. And Frank, what's ahead here?
Big par 4, just over 450 yards. Ideally, you want to get it down by that bunker where it's nice and flat, because that second shot, you know what's coming up.
Our tournament here at Bay Hill still in full swing, obviously. But, Frank, I think all of our golfers competing this weekend may have one eye toward next week, the big purse, the island green, the full field. It is the flagship event on the PGA Tour, the Players, just a couple of hours north of here at TPC Sawgrass.
Rich, when you've got a name that's called The Players, I think that says it all, and that's the one they want to win.
Frank landed it on the green.
It was never going to stop.
No, no chance. Nope. That one finished off. It's a bogey here at number 8. He'll drop back now to 1 under par. Final hole now of the front side. It's a 474-yard par 4. And Frank, you've played it before. What works best here?
Well, ideally, a nice little draw off the tee. But the hole's quite weird because the tee shot shapes to the left, and yet the green goes the other way.
Yeah, good swing and a good result, as that is safely into the fairway. Walking the course today, let's bring in Nota Begay III.
153 yards left to the hole, looking to make up for that drop shot with a birdie here.
Well, had a good look at the green, but couldn't cash it in the rough now, wondering what might have been. This is a 16-footer. Good putt right there. I wasn't sure if it was going to turn enough, but it did, and he'll save his par. So for our featured golfer, Frank, it is on to the weekend. Who knows, if you get out early on Saturday, try and post a number.
Come on. I can do this. I can do much better. Much better. Let's do this.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour are proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup.
This afternoon, it's live third-round coverage of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard. Well, if yesterday was any indication, we should be in for a memorable weekend of golf here as we take in the leaderboard on this Saturday. We've got a tie at the top at 6 under par. So let's get you out to the action on the turn as we head to the tee at the par 4 10th. Second shot coming up. Let's bring in Iona Stephen.
124 left to the flagstick, pin front left so he can take dead aim.
Gonna have to accelerate through the sand here to give this enough carry. I don't think he's going to fall in love with that one, Frank, but it won't hurt him.
No, but you'd expect from there to sort of get it within kicking distance. Now you got to work.
Well read. That's in for a bogey 5. And he's going to fall to 3 shots off the lead. Frank, 440-yard par 4 11th. You see that number on the card, you think driver. Maybe not. Why?
Yeah, it's imperative you hit the fairway here, Rich. Water obviously in play left, 2 bunkers on the right. This is a second shot hole.
Yeah, nothing to fault there. Good balance, good follow through, and a good start to this hole. From 163 yards out, this a tough second. Uh-oh. And that ball not wanting to cooperate, and it is into the hazard. So with a shake of the head, he'll take his drop, and now with a stroke added for the penalty, this becomes his 4th to the par 4.
Now a 7-footer.
You can see the frustration building. That is not a great putt there. That goes down, but it's a 6 at the par 4. And he'll fall back to 1 under par. Frank, now we're at the 574-yard par 5 12th. How critical are the par 5s if you're trying to put a score on the board here at Bay Hill?
They're crucial, Rich, because the par 4s are very, very difficult. So anytime you get a par 5, you've really got to take advantage of it. There's certainly a lot of different ways to play a par 5. You're going to have to figure out the best way to play this par 5 using 3 shots to reach the green.
I'm not sure he got every bit of that 3-wood trying to get home to this par 5 in 2, but still in the ball game for a birdie. Just 6 feet left for the birdie. Okay, that'll help the cause. It's a birdie here at number 12. And he moves it to 2 under par. So you look at the card and you see 370 yards, par 4 13th, and you think, I'm making birdie here, but then hold on. There's a lot happening. 2 fairway bunkers to the left. There's 1 to the right. That green with 2 more bunkers and water front and right. And all of a sudden you realize, oh, I get it. It's the number 1 handicap hole. I'll be happy with par here. This is why you practice these shots from under 100 yards. You've bombed your drive. Now it's time for the touch shot. Zip one in there close.
In golf, you know, you've heard the term mulligan. You'd love that, a do-over there, wouldn't you? I mean, that's just, that's very poor from that range.
Yep, Not bad. Had to put a little extra into that one, but got it there. That's a pretty good effort. Okay, that one finished off for a par, and he'll remain at 4 under. Frank, our featured golfer, 4 shots back heading to Sunday. I mean, we see deficits like that disappear all the time.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'll try.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour so proud to present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today we bring you live final round coverage of the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. What a week and weekend this has been so far. Everything you want in a golf tournament. By nightfall, we will have our winner. As you take a look at the current leaderboard on this Sunday afternoon, our leader, a former winner here at Bay Hill in 2020, Tyrrell Hatton, he's at 9 under. And that one not on the green, but not in a terrible spot either. Sitting up in the short grass. This is a 9-footer. Okay, good putt. And a par here at 14. And he'll stay at -3. Frank, deep in the round at the 15th, you need to maybe make something happen. How difficult is that with such a huge dog like you?
Once again, make sure you know the distance to carry the bunker or run out. You've got to play to your strength.
Yeah, all about hitting the fairway here, and that is right where you want to be. Noticeable breeze coming right to left as he eyes his second. Okay, a solid par here at the 15th, and he'll remain right where he is. We enter the final stretch with a 511-yard par 5 16th tree and bunker trouble to the right. OB to the left. It is reachable in 2, but water in front of the green will punish the mishits.
That sounded great off the club, and it is right down the middle.
A good 200 yards away from a good lie in the fairway. Really hit that second shot on the button to this par 5, but Frank couldn't get it to stop.
Yeah, too good, too long, sadly.
See if he can get this one to drop here at the 16th for a birdie. That a pure roll there. That is down for a birdie here at 16. And he'll move to 4 under. Always like this par 3, Frank. Par 3 17th. Let me amend that. I like watching the best in the world play it because it can be daunting, especially with the pressure ratcheted up.
When they have the tournament on, this green is brick hard. A little bit downhill. That's about the only advantage you get.
Yeah, that one came out hot, tough to judge sometimes, coming out of the sand, and that winds up well beyond the flag. Got it there, but not quite on target. That one finished off for bogey here at 17. And he's going to slide backwards to 3 under par.
Frank, the scene of so much drama through the years. The 18th here at Bay Hill. What's the key?
The fairway is rather generous, but once again it pinches in around 320, 330 yards. You've got to be cognizant of that. And of course that green shapes to the right, so good tee shot makes that second shot a little bit easier.
Well, you can't walk out and drop it any better than that. That is a fine tee shot right there. Oh, that's trouble. Oh! And just not enough. That ball off the rocks and back into the water that protects this 18th green. All right, so he'll take his drop, and with a penalty stroke added, that'll become his 4th now to the par 4. Oh, that is right, and that may be gone. Oh, and you saw that splash there. That is into the hazard. So now following the drop, this will become the 6th shot coming up. Well, that is into the water, and you know, this 18th hole has gotten the best of a lot of folks through the years. Time to call it a day and head for the clubhouse. So, Frank, our golfer just could not get things going here in this final round, and it winds up a disappointing finish.
And hopefully it's not a bad habit too, because as we know, they normally give out trophies on Sundays, so you do not want to get in a habit of playing poorly.
It is golf's unofficial 5th major. It is the home of the PGA Tour. It is 18 of the most diabolical holes ever strung together. It is visually intimidating. It is narrow fairways. It is water at every turn. But for the player who outlasts all others, it is the richest prize in golf. It is the Players' Championship.
EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. For over 4 decades, this has been the home of the PGA Tour and the site of its flagship event as we bring you opening round coverage of the players. What might we have in store for us over the course of these next 4 days? We've got big names, we've got dark horses, we've got it all as we look at the leaderboard on this Thursday. The leader is the Canadian Corey Connors. He's rolling early at 8 under par. So a beautiful Thursday here at TPC Sawgrass, and what a weekend we have in store. As we take a look at our featured golfer, the rookie, that played reasonably well last week at Bay Hill, made the cut, got some good experience. But this, Frank, this is a different test altogether.
When you look at the field, Rich, it is stacked from top to bottom, from that first tee off time to the last. I mean, this is the who's who of golf. So if you're a rookie and this is your first experience at the deep water, so to speak, then you get to feel it straight away. But just remember, 4 rounds at Bay Hill, that's a tough golf course. And this is a more strategic get-it-and-play golf course. Don't get ahead of yourself. Never know. Might be 2 good weeks in a row.
Our rookie golfer making that first appearance in the prestigious Players' Championship. Nota Begay III is with us. You've been there. Note of the Players, not a major by name, but we all know how significant it is. And this really the first big test of the youngsters' maiden voyage, first season on the PGA Tour. What's this one like?
Well, if a young player wants to find out what their game looks like on the toughest venues, in the toughest tournaments, come to the Players' Championship. It's going to test every facet of their game, and they will, at week's end, know where they stand in contrast to the rest of the players in the world.
Another good tee shot for him to start the round as he gets another fairway here at the second. Shouldn't be much in this for birdie. Yeah, well done. It's a birdie here at the second. A fine Thursday as we get rolling in this Players' Championship. The course in pristine condition. Frank, we hear so much about this golf course being one that favors accuracy over distance. Is that fair to say?
It is. Often we use the phrase, it favors no one. And I think that's the hardest part of the golf course. There's no stereotypical type winner here at TPC Sawgrass. It really is a good blend of just finding position on some holes. Then the longer hitters, well, they can take advantage. The new 12th hole, for example, the drivable par 4. There's some tweaks in the golf course, but still they expose everybody long and short. And that's the beauty, and in some respect, the pain of this golf course. And an awkward little bunker shot. Just splash it out, let the ball run towards the flag.
Oh, that's marvelous right there. Let that club slide right through the sand, and that might very well limit the damage here. That one in for a bogey here at the third. And that's going to move him back down to even par. So much focus here, Frank, on 16, 17, and 18. Number 4 is a hole that gets overlooked, but it's a fun one.
Yeah, the second shot here is more daunting, especially when that flag's on the left. So you really do start looking at that blue stuff, water. As that ball bounces into the rough, first fairway missed today.
So from the rough, his second here at the 4th. Well, as an old baseball announcer once said, going,
Gone.
goodbye. That's in. It is a good par here at number 4. And he'll stay at level par. Up next, the difficult dogleg right, par 4 fifth, the longest par 4 at TPC Sawgrass, measuring 471 yards. We've already seen some narrow landing areas on these first few holes. Number 5, no different, and that is really a good tee shot there. Down on the course, let's check in with Nota Begay III.
He's got 154 yards to the hole, Wind is helping from behind, so you can take a little less club.
Yeah, that's good putt. It is a par here at the 5th, and he'll stay at even par. On now to the 6th, the hole that Pete Dye called the most beautiful hole at TPC Sawgrass. It's a par 4 at 393 yards. The water is self-evident left, framed by a long bunker that shapes the left side of the fairway. Up near the green, precision's important as there are no fewer than 7 bunkers of various sizes waiting to swallow up errant approach shots. That is into the rough, and there could be some definite palm tree danger over there between where that ball stopped and the green. From the rough into the bunker, or the frying pan into the fire, sometimes mistakes, they just have a way of compounding themselves.
Well, obviously he can do better, and he's going to have to on this next putt if he wants to just get out of here with bogey, Frank.
And this one's certainly going to be, well, worth the price of admission.
That one just going to sneak on by. Okay, so that one finished off for double bogey. And that's going to move him back to 2 over par. Frank, the 7th hole here at the TPC Sawgrass, vintage Pete Dye, isn't it?
It is. Anything other than straight confuses the player off the tee. But there's 3 pot bunkers down the right side. Just inside that last little pot bunker on the left of that, it's actually a pretty good line. It's so hard to bounce back after a huge score, especially when you're still reeling from it. But try and pull the screws back in the head there. Just take a little breath, maybe 2. Decent swing, don't try and kill it. Exactly like that. Really good shot. And safely on deck. That's the main thing, but from that distance, really don't want to leave yourself like a knee knocker, like a 4 or 5 footer. So this first putt's going to have to be good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good putt. Just a little bit off the mark. That one finished off. It'll be a par here at 7. And he'll remain at 2 over par. Up next, the 237-yard 8. It's the longest par 3 at TPC Sawgrass, with a wide variety of challenges, including a deep, narrow, and sloping green, protected by grass bunkers. Par is the goal here on this very demanding hole. And that one needed to put on the brakes, but could not, and this will wind up over the green. He has a 12-footer here. Not quite on line, and that'll drift a couple feet by. He'll go ahead and finish that off. It's in for his bogey. And he'll slide back now to 3 over par. We close out the front 9 with a 583-yard par 5, one of the most spectacular par 5s in golf. A lake and a bunker on the right and deep woods on the left. Stay out of that. This hole grows narrower as it unfolds. Yeah, that's a nice swing, and the result is going to be a tee shot that is set up just fine.
Frank, this is all about plotting your way around. Now the third shot at the ninth.
Yeah, there's a reward for a precise short iron shot in here. If the pin's on the right or the left, precision pays off. Well, it's tough to shake off that bogey at the previous hole, especially when you get a shot like that.
Got to fully commit to this one as he'll try again.
More troubles. Not a great shot at all.
This going to be equally as tough. Another try to get this up and out.
Well, hit the stroke limit on that one.
We start the inward nine with a 424-yard par 4 dogleg left with trees on the right and a large bunker down the left.
It's so hard to bounce back after a huge score, especially when you're still reeling from it. But try and pull the screws back in the head there. Just take a little breath, maybe two. Decent swing. Don't try and kill it. Exactly like that. Really good shot.
That is always so disappointing from that kind of a spot when you come up short.
Yeah, you're licking your chops over that one. A shot you think you could hit directly at the flag. Now, test for the short game. Lovely pitch shot. Just nipped that ball off the turf. Just flew through the air beautifully. Sat down fairly quick as well. Good shot.
So that's in for par to start this backside. And he'll remain at 6 over.
Hole number 11, 558-yard, par 5. Frank, players in attack mode here.
Yeah, just try and blitz it down there. There are other bunkers on the left to consider, but really with that much fairway, this is a green light opportunity.
Gonna work this up that left-hand side.
Well, not this time. That one's in the rough. Might be a tough shot coming up.
So close to being good, that second shot. Now, a tricky bunker shot.
Well, lesson there, I think, is if you find the bunker, you're just asking for trouble. Short of the green and a lot of work to do to salvage par.
This hole's been quite mean, but once again, a beautiful use of the short game to perhaps get away with a par.
Okay, well done. It is a par here at 11, and he'll stay right where he is.
Now to the par 4 12th, and it's a pretty short hole, Frank.
Yeah, Pete Dye often doesn't get enough credit for his short par 4s. This is a great example where one of the features of it is the blind second shot, just to give you a little bit of doubt on judging the distance.
And this first round not going according to plan. More problems. It's a tee shot in the bunker.
Birdie putt coming up, but you gotta think anything inside of 7 or 8 feet here is pretty darn good. Yeah, you see so many of these long putts like that come up short. It's just hard mentally to hit the ball much firmer.
No missteps there. It is a par here at 12. And he'll remain right where he is. Well, on this back nine here at TPC Sawgrass, you know that the 17th as a par 3 gets all the attention. But don't forget about this 181-yard 13th. Really a beautiful little hole and plenty of trouble as well. Now a second to this par 3.
"12 feet still to go."
Oh, that'll bring a wry smile. A very good putt there to save his par. And he'll stay right where he is. Frank, the 14th hole. A lot has happened here over the years.
I think it's the litmus test on the back nine. That's where things really start to heat up. It looks like a straightforward tee shot, but often the eyes wander to that water down the left side. And of course, if you think about that, you invariably fire the ball towards the right, where those hillocks and thick roughers and virtually no chance of reaching the par 4 and 2.
Frank, there's a lot to factor in on this approach at the 14th.
You can favor right side of this green and sort of allow the contours of the green just to move that ball to the left.
Well, not as close to the pin as you'd like, but when you find greens in regulation on a regular basis, you're going to have a chance. Look at this putt. That is something special right there. From that far away to gauge that speed, that is so well done. No issues there. It is a par here at 14. And he'll remain right where he is. 15th hole here at TPC Sawgrass is a 470-yard par 4, dogleg right with a drive through an alley of trees and over water. This tee shot is not for the faint of heart. Nothing to fault there, safely in the fairway. This is where club selection is so important. Second shot into that stiff breeze. Needed maybe half a club more there. As it is, needs to get up and down to save par. Yeah, good putt. That's in for par here at 15. And he'll stay right where he is. Frank, fans watching, they love excitement in the game. 16's an exciting hole, isn't it?
Well, that's where you get it, because you hear the roars. You start to see the big crowds that go all the way around 16, 17, and 18T. You feel where you are in the tournament, too. A movement that starts at 16 can be carried all the way to the clubhouse. Well, somehow, that ball's got through the other side of the tree and really hadn't lost that much yardage.
That is starting right. Got to be careful over there. Oh, let's hope that's not a precursor of things to come. It is into the lake here at 16. So now, with the drop taken, this is going to be his fourth shot into this par 5.
A nice shot and a good chance for a par. The statistics on the PGA Tour show that from 8 feet, you make 50% of your putts.
Okay, didn't want to let that one get away. It is a par here at 16, and he'll remain right where he is. Now to maybe the most famous hole in the whole sport.
It's the 17th here at the stadium course, the TPC Sawgrass. Frank, if you look at it on the card, it seems so simple. It's just 137 yards. For the best in the world, that's a pitching wedge, maybe a 9-iron. And yet, every year, we see nightmares galore.
And that's where you have to remind yourself what can and what does happen here. I normally cut the green in half here. It's 26 yards deep. So if you just take 13 yards off the yardage, you have 124 yards to the middle of the green. That has to be your target. This is no time to be a hero. You can still have a putt for birdie.
From about 8 feet. Yeah, that one on target, though it is in for double bogey. And that's going to drop him all the way down to 8 over par. Now to the 462-yard par 4 18th hole here at TPC Sawgrass. And very simply, this is one of the hardest and most visually intimidating tee shots in the game. That's why you see a lot of players bail out to the right. Well, that is going to flirt with the water. This could be close. Well, I hate to say it, this is becoming a theme into the hazard again. I hope it doesn't become a meme. Water on the last hole and wet again here. So now after the drop, time to try again. That is left, and that is trouble. We started off playing a game of golf, but now we're just flat out deep sea fishing here. This is bizarre. Well, that is into the water at 18, and it is not a very satisfying way to end the round, but I think we might have to say enough's enough. For the golfer we had our eye on, no other way to say it. EA Sports and the PGA Tour proudly present the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Today, from the home course of the PGA Tour, TPC Sawgrass, it's live second-round coverage of the Players. Things starting to slowly take shape here on this Friday. For some, it is a race for the top prize. For others, it's a fight to stick around for the weekend as we show you the leaderboard. The leader is the Canadian Corey Connors. He's currently at 8 under. Second round here at the Players, and Frank, our featured golfer, the rookie, kind of stumbled coming out of the gates yesterday.
Playing for pride.
Now they find themselves
Playing for
a long
pride now,
way back
for fuck's
here.
sake.
At this point, I would have to think the goal is just do what you can to make the cut and play the weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, and failing that too, getting something out of the round. Whenever you play a brand new golf course to you, against a field as strong as this, you've got to try and take something out of it. Was I comfortable? Did I have the right shots? Do I think my game equates to the best players in the world? All those little questions, there's a chance to answer that today. So even if they don't make the weekend, that level of comfort to try and get as close as possible to it should be the goal today. And that ball looked good in the air. You'd like it to be a little closer, but still, inside 40 feet, just going to have to be careful with the lag putting.
Well done. That is in for a par here at the first. And that's going to keep him right where he is. Frank, what do you make of the par 5 second?
Doglegs to the left, so there's a decision to be made here all the time, but a good hooking tee shot. That takes the trees on the left out of play, and even the rough on the right. Good tee shot here. I've seen people get home with as little as a 5-iron.
Another very nice tee shot. He looks awfully comfortable here with these first couple of drives. Really hit that second shot on the button to this par 5, but Frank couldn't get it to stop.
Yeah, too good, too long, sadly.
A birdie opportunity at 2, and Nota Begay is down there.
And players of this caliber should make this on a regular basis pretty flat with just a slight movement to the left.
Nope. Good putt there. It's in for par here at the second. And he's going to stay right where he is. Frank, break down the par 3 third for us.
The big ridge in the middle of this green, really you have a front section and a back section. That front bunker, the one that you first see off the tee, that really doesn't come into play. But there's a sneaky one behind the flag and down the left side. Really good par 3.
Okay, safely aboard. Now, from long range, this for birdie. Yeah, that's good putt. That was a slippery one, but that's well done. So that safely in. It's a par here at the third. And he'll remain right where he is. Hole number 4 here at TPC Sawgrass. 384-yard par 4 deep fairway bunker to the right of the landing zone. You want to avoid that. What else is there to look out for, Frank?
Those huge mounds on the left, they're just as penal really as the bunker on the right. So this is one where you have to pick an object in the distance. Really focus on that. Now, it's in the first cut. There's always a little bit more grass around the ball that has to be factored in.
This one looks right on point.
Good shot. Safely on the green and a birdie chance.
Oh, man, the speed was spot on. A good putt, but nothing to show for it. Okay, that one finished off. It's a par here at 4. And that's going to keep him right where he is. But all the pros will tell you the 5th here at TPC Sawgrass is all you want. Challenging at 471 yards. It's the longest par 4 on the golf course. We've already seen some narrow landing areas on these first few holes. Number 5, no different, and that is really a good tee shot there.
Didn't check, Frank.
Yeah, just not enough spin on that, really. I mean, that almost like took that first bounce and just ricocheted forward.
This is a 16-footer. That is well read. A terrific putt there to save par. And he's going to stay right where he is.
Frank, what do you think of the sixth? Pretty short par 4.
It is, but you come out of that sort of corridor and fairway opens up and then it narrows up, bunkers to be around. Very, very few people hit driver here.
And that, a good-looking shot there, well placed in the fairway. A back right hole location here as he gets set for his second to the par 4.
That's a bit of a head turner, really. That was a green light situation from that distance, and far from the best shot I've seen today.
Yep, not bad. Had to put a little extra into that one, but got it there. That's a pretty good effort. Safely in for par here at the sixth. And he'll remain right where he is. We now arrive at the 451-yard par 4-7. Slight dogleg right with a seemingly endless fairway bunker and lateral water hazard running almost the entire length of the left side of the hole. He seemed to like that one as well. He should. It'll wind up just right of center. Good shot.
Frank, you've been there. What's the best way to approach this next shot at the 7th hole?
There's a lot of mounding on this 7th green, to the right and the left. You can use those mounds to kick the ball to the flag. And that's a good approach shot too. Just a little left of the hole, but a good chance for birdie.
Yes, runs that one right in. It's a birdie here at the 7th. And a rare step in the right direction as that scores back to 10 over par.
TPC Sawgrass, the fabled stadium course designed by the legendary Pete Dye. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo. And here at the 8th, Frank, most players are happy walking out of here with a par 3.
And the reason why, it's a very narrow entry to this green. It's just littered with bunkers around, left, behind, to the side, and even short. Once you get further up the green, though, even though this is an undulating green, it starts to widen up. So don't get trapped into just looking at the front of this hole. Birdie on the last, and likely to give at least one back here.
Frank, you have to appreciate that. That is excellent technique right there to get right around gimme range. Should help him walk away with just a bogey.
No doubt. This is such a tricky green too, so that's very well done.
Closing out the front side with the par 5, 583-yard ninth. Don't say this too often in this, the era of the long bomber, but this for most is actually a 3-shot par 5. You can get there in 2, but it requires accuracy and 2 enormous shots. And this, a tee shot that fits the eye, and that'll be just fine. Still better than 3 bills away as he puts forth his second to the par 5. I'm not sure he got every bit of that 3-wood trying to get home to this par 5 in 2, but still in the ball game for a birdie. Okay, a little left to do, but safely on the green. This will be a 14-foot putt here. Got it there, but not quite on target. Just a tap in there for par at the 9th, and he'll go out in 36. It's an even par front side. Similar to the first hole, the 10th is a relatively short par 4, 424 yards, but it requires accuracy and some strategy. You have to put your ball in the right place. A dog leg left, you have trees on the right, and don't forget about that big bunker on the left-hand side.
Super tee shot.
From the fairway nota, this is second.
Looking at 153 to the hole, standing on even par, looking to go under for the day.
And that ball looked very good in the air. Just doesn't quite finish up that near to the flag, but still on the green.
Oh, yes. Plenty of pace to get up that slope. It is in for a birdie. Will certainly help the cause.
Let's go to the 11th now. It's a par 5 and a fun hole, Frank. You can make anything from 3 to 7 here.
And that's why, as the start of the back nine, especially on a Sunday, this becomes such a pivotal hole to start a run. Big body of sand down the left side that sometimes the longer hitters can get close to with the tee shot, but really it's the second shot. If you can reach this par 5 and 2, it's a very narrow green. The layup, well, it's actually an awkward layup, Rich, because you've got to push that ball to the left side, almost like a zigzag approach. And that second shot on this par 5, it just came out too low, came out like a bullet. That first bounce, it wasn't going to stop. Second bounce wasn't going to stop, and just ran over the back.
Just too tough to control out of the sand. That one unable to hold the green. It'll run off into the short stuff.
Well, obviously that's not his best, but it'll be quickly forgotten, Frank, if he's able to get out of here with his par.
Well, you might forget it. I won't. Far from his best.
Nearly had it. Just going to wander a foot or so by. Safely in. It's a bogey here at number 11. And he's going to fall even further below par.
Frank, what's so much fun about TPC Sawgrass is the excitement that it generates for a fan and how many different holes there are. 12 is a good example.
Yeah, 12 looks like it's fresh from Scotland. You can see why Pete Dye spent a lot of time over there. Tee shot looks straight away, but the second shot is blind. The shot you'd get in Scotland with a wedge where you just see the top of the flagstick and you've got to really guesstimate on the yardage that you have. But a good wedge shot and someone that can judge their distance, this is certainly a birdie hole.
We need to recheck the yardage after that one. That's on the green, but not a real good shot. Well done. That's in for par. And that's going to keep him right where he is.
Frank, so much focus on the back nine here at the stadium course of TPC Sawgrass on the 17th hole with the island green. I think 13 gets lost sometimes, but the pros know this is a really good hole.
Oh, it can be disastrous too. That's, I think, what you're referring to, Rich. There's a big ridge in the middle of the screen that bisects the top side with the bottom side on the left. So even when the flag's on the left, you don't have to go directly at it because that normally causes the problem with the wooden bulkheads down the left side and obviously the water left of that. So something on the ridge can often run down towards the left. But we have seen the odd hole-in-one here over the years.
This from about 10 feet. Well judged. That is in for par here at 13. And he's going to stay right where he is. Next up, the treacherous 481-yard par 4 14th. Narrow fairway bunker. A lateral water hazard running along the left side and large, deep grass bunkers down the right. Accuracy is paramount here if you're going to get out of here with a par. And no issues there. Good tee shot in the short grass.
Frank challenging approach shot here at the 14th.
Yeah, there's some subtle mounds in this green. One that comes in on the right, and then another one that starts to come in about 2/3 of the way down on that left side.
Well, had a good look at the green, but couldn't cash it in. In the rough now, wondering what might have been. Okay, good putt. And a par here at 14. And he'll remain right where he is. Such a good stretch of holes coming off that difficult 14th. Now to the 470-yard par 4 15th. Again, demanding. And this tee shot, you have to be on your game. As simple as that. Gotta think this an extra half club or more as he sets for his second into the wind.
Are you really going to take that seriously? That ball wasn't even going to land on the green, but it's finished up fine.
A look at birdie here at 15.
And this may go just a fraction to the right, but otherwise it's flat and it's makeable.
That one just gonna sneak on by. Okay, a solid par here at the 15th. And that's gonna keep him right where he is. Now to the par 5 16, 523 yards. And the key here, besides the obvious, good drive, solid second shot, is to not look too far ahead. But that's easier said than done, because as you get to that second shot, you can plainly see what's ahead, and that is the famous par 3 17th and the water to the right. That is starting right. Got to be careful over there. Oh, and let's hope that's not a precursor of things to come. It is into the lake here at 16. So with a penalty stroke added in, now lying 3, readying for shot number 4.
Well, Frank, this is a case where a par is going to feel like an eagle if he's able to get this done.
If he can just make it, just make this putt, then just like run to the next tee.
Not that time. Pretty good effort, but it'll wander a couple of feet by. Okay, in for a bogey at 16. And with it, he's going to fall even further down this leaderboard, well above par. Up next, the short par 3 17. It is, as you know, one of the most famous par 3s in the world. Right side of this island green, protected by a small bunker. But better to be there than in the water. Oh, that's got to hurry. Oh, that was just never online, and it will be into the hazard here left of this par 3 green. So now after the drop, time to try again. Okay, that one will need a better fate than the first. It is safely on to this island green. Eight-foot putt here.
Okay, that'll mitigate things a little. It is still a double bogey, though, here at the par 3. And that's going to drop him even further down the leaderboard.
People always talk about 17 being visually intimidating. Frank, what about 18?
If there's a little bit of wind off the right, the tee shot is so much easier. But if that wind is coming off the water, not only do you see the water and the wooden bulkheads, you see all the rough and the trees on the right. And of course, then you start bringing 5, 6, 7, even 8 into play. That's what makes this tee shot so hard.
Frank, it's all about focus and positive imagery, isn't it, here on this approach shot at the 18th?
You have to be precise with your target here. You can't be looking left at the water or mounds on the right. Plus, there's all the mounding on the screen. So, in the end, look at the flag, aim at the flag, go there.
This will require the full attention. A huge swing left to right on this putt. Just try to get it in there close.
Okay, I'd call that an acceptable effort from that range. Yeah, that's a good putt. It is in for his par here at 18. And this is going to be a second round score of 75. So that's where this tourney will end for our featured golfer. Their 2-round score falling outside the cut line.
Very bad performance.
If you focus on anything...
Very bad. Very bad.